Come on. I mean, he's still there. He's,
Okay, here he is.
He's
He's not, he
just-
disappeared.
no, I'm just thinking. There we go.
Alright, okay. So call the regular session of the Tillamook Urban Renewal Agency meeting to order. It's Wednesday, December 10th. And it is like 6:01. So can we have the roll call, please?
Garrett Officer, Tulsa City Council.
Samantha Madison. France. Cheryl Cleveland.
Connaughton.
Victor Gennaro, Vice Chair.
And Sarah Brown.
Everybody see there except John. Alright. I'm just trying to get rid of John. Anybody know?
He was
hasn't been here a couple of
He was
times.
at the city council meeting.
He hasn't been here for several weeks.
Maybe we can call Dale, remind him or something.
He's got that under to this. Okay.
I think he forgets.
Okay. Okay, so we have the minutes for November 12th. We check and look at those. We have a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? No discussion, then all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
We I have some. Okay, so there are two abstentions. Public non-agenda item, we don't have any public, so I'll just skip over that. So, this, we really have to discuss, but does anybody have any questions or anything about the financials or the project commitments? We only have one outstanding project, it looks like. You're just saying bills and things, the financial reports? Yeah.
And that balance working that reflects after the payment for like, yes.
Alright. Yeah, so part of this is the paper that's about outstanding loans. And so much vision says it's half forgiven. So. Does anybody, contract committee really needs to have some information? Anybody know when the other half is forgiven? You need to vote, I think. I think there's a time.
Yeah.
So if you wanna serve, at least, yeah, get a copy of the. On your contract and send it to, I don't know.
Okay,
You can send a copy to.
okay.
Then
So it has not already been forgiven?
half of it,
Half
half,
of it, the other half is when?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I'm trying to find out, okay, so we have a requirement, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because they meant to requirements for half of it, that's why we.
and I think that have dealt with, the number of, insurances that they accepted. I think that's what that is.
Okay.
But because your company is certified, like insurance thing. Anyway, yeah, but some of it may actually have been part of it. Employees, so I don't know, we have to find out.
I think we might really now, yeah.
so my question is, of that 130,000, what remains? What there are?
65,000.
65, because 65 has been forgiven already.
Correct, so,
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
they.
Okay, thank you.
I don't really know what to do with that. And so the next thing on here is committee reports, the contract committee, so, first thing on here is the Chamber of Commerce request for reimbursement for their bioswales, and you all have this little fat piece of packet. It deals with the bioswales, and the reason you have this is because this happened 2 years ago. And many of you were not even here, so you had no idea what was going on. But, anyway, and the space is embarrassing today, but he was totally adequate, yes. And so the bioswales are those, what we call them, the pits downtown, and there's a lot of them that have grass in them. And, those are supposed to take the runoff. And those little plants treat it, and then when it runs into the river, to the sewage or whatever, then it's cleaner than it would. Because that, a lot of weeds grow in there, and what happened to the plantings, one were still there, and it's a mess.
Garbage.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, where does that runoff go? Doesn't it go into the sewer treatment plant or?
Some of it, I don't think it all goes in here. Garrett?
I'm not sure, I'm sure about that, I just know that we had a meeting, I sat in on a meeting where they brought us a guy to try to help them figure out ways to, push him up a little bit. I think they're looking at maybe some different plants that are habitable there, and I want one study, but they're working on something, they did a good job, and I think it's sisters or men that have them. They look a lot nicer than ours, and so, they gotta work on their dudes.
But in particular, where does the runoff go, do you know?
I don't know, I know they wanted to try to put the big rocks in there, but ODOT said no. And they're just trying to figure out something to do to make it look less ugly.
Anybody know how they survived the storm this week?
Well, they do fine.
Yeah, they seem to work fine.
Yeah,
Too long.
Thanks.
yeah, it's my belief, since I was involved in that remodel downtown, that the water that enters into the bioswales percolates down. It doesn't get forwarded to the sewer system, unless the bioswale gets so full that it fills up and starts feeding into that. Every one of them has a grate. That I believe has a line that will go to the sewer, but I've yet to see the bioswales filled up so much so that the grate starts feeding thick with water. But so the big answer to your question is I believe it all percolates down.
So on Justin King, I mean, you pointed out the fact that they don't look great, and then I guess some people have backed into them. I'm not sure how you do that, but anyway, they did, and so that was a problem. And, you know, and that trash gets thrown out and everything like that, so he wants to be able to work on getting something fixed. And so, but he had to have this study done first. The study, when he came to us, was like 2,000 something, and we said, no, we're not gonna do that much. So it ended up that, the majority of the board voted that they would do 12,000. And, so that's, and we did not have, I don't know why. We don't have an agreement with him, never signed a contract or anything, which we really should have for $12,000, but in the. You didn't have a contract? No, there's no contract, it was 2 years ago, within the minutes of November 8th of 2023. It says. Page 2 of 3, this is all in your package, we look at the last page, not there. Pending business, Justin Hoffmeyer and bioswales, Johnson, Dusty made the motion, Jorge Rio seconded it, and they moved to approve 12,000 contingent on fundraising for the remainder. And so, the people voted no. Brilliant, it was approved.
Did we get dinged on our August when we did a contract for that?
I don't know, I've never seen any, but I don't think they usually are, I haven't seen that, well, I guess they would have here, I don't know. Nothing, so anyhow, but we did say we would do it. We both seemed like if we said we would do it, what do we do? I wanted you to at least have all that information about it, which is like. I say, something else, okay.
I didn't know that it was controversial, and then the first person about putting those in, and lots of people have questions points and all the rest of it. Did this saying, this OTAC, is that what it's
Yeah.
called? Did OTAC put these in virtually for ODA?
I think that they may have,
Or engineered it, or
Yeah.
designed it, or whatever?
yes, I think they may have been part of that. And. But that's who you needed to go to, or who he needed to go to get this report. And so this summary memorandum that's here, is basically was dated July 22nd of this year. This is essentially what we found out. Now, there was also a budget that went with this. Let's see, it's not it. There was. Yes. That along with this report, there was an estimate as to what it would cost to fix it. The way they sort of wanted to fix it.
Well, then
It's a enormous amount of money, $814,000.
well, and the option B was $100,000 per bioswale.
Yeah, and there's 28 of them, I think, or
Yeah,
there's a lot of them. Yeah.
okay, can I ask another question? Sure. In reading this, tell me if I have this right or it's wrong, that basically ODOT said, we're done with it, we did it, and now it's the community's
Yeah.
responsibility to fix it or do whatever they want and pay for it, right?
Yes.
You still have to have their approval to.
Because I couldn't see where Justin. When I first started reading it, I thought, well, why does he think he can? Have any sway with ODOT, but then when I read all the background stuff, I figured that that's pretty much what they told him. You figure it out and you do it and we don't want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, but they still have standards that you have to follow it, and they still have to give permission, and so you're not away from them, you just. It's a weird and convoluted thing. And. I get, and I didn't think it was a great idea, the first place to do the study, because it's like, okay, so we're gonna get the money to fix it.
Well, it seems to me that if this OTAC business put them in, they should know some of the pitfalls of it already and how to solve them.
Well, that's what the summary, I think that's what the summary thing was.
Well, I know that, but my point is that that's a lot of money for having built this, you know, that there's problems and you know how to fix it and you have to pay that much for that. I don't know, but anyway, be it, that doesn't mean, yeah. And there's no guarantee that those solutions will really fix the problem. And who's gonna pay for this?
Well, that's just it, the amount of money that it would be required to fix these is. Totally out of everything.
Unbelievable. And it's not only primary, it's.
I found his line, it's sure.
Well,
Yeah, no, it isn't, it's not.
this is, this is.
No, so, but anyway, so we have this, and essentially, I mean, he's sent the checks in and everything, that have all been canceled, he's provided everything we asked him for. And so, yes, what I entertain is somebody to make a motion that we reimburse Chamber of Commerce for the $12,000 they spent on the Saturday.
I know that you pay our financial obligation to the chamber for $12,000 for this study.
Second. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Further discussion? No, I'm saying. Right, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, so passes.
Thank you for the thorough explanation in advance that you gave us. That was
Awesome.
very,
It's not fair yet, we go on something.
Yeah, really do the practice, right?
There you have it. Okay, the Beatles building request for reimbursement, so, I'm not mistaken. But $100,000.
Just about.
Terry, he sent it to,
$98,909.46.
Yep.
Oh, the rate for 46 cents. Okay, and this was for like 3 different things, I believe. Why is this blank like that?
that was, financial information that, because I tried something new and just redacted certain things, and so, so that it can be put up online and the whole thing could go up. And then, so that way, so then I forgot to unredact it for you guys, but it's really, it just shows, cause that's part of, the Bouchard's, request for payment, and that was, it was showing the money going in and out of their account, so I didn't feel it, I didn't think that was appropriate to have in there. So,
Okay, so, yeah, so as far as Terry Phillips is concerned, we're gonna go to see everything he wants. Nobody went up on you. No. Garrett, did you go on you?
He did it, right, today, so.
It seemed, well, Samantha asked, and I was like, okay, if Terry paid this, somebody did the roof,
Right,
because he wasn't gonna pay it.
right.
Alright, so we need a motion to pay Terry, reimburse Terry, 98,000.
I would make a motion to pay Harry reimbursement of the invoices that he paid to the tune of, I'll let you do the math, so. And it looks like 3 figures of 52 or 28 and 18, figure. Yeah, 28, 52 and 18.
Second,
Anyway, I'll let you do the math in a
It's
minute.
98,990.46.
Okay. That is my motion.
second,
Can you clean that up for me, Sam?
yeah,
You seconded it? Okay, so we moved and seconded, and is there any more discussion about Terry's reimbursement? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Really that one, I just had one more question about the, study. Did they do fundraising for the remaining amount, the 6,000?
maybe he had to come up with the rest of it, you know, you thought that you could do it all, you thought $1,000. And like I said, you wanted something over 18. You submitted this, he asked for 12,900 and we even so I wrote it.
So they came up with the rest.
Yes, okay, we're done. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing on here is 108 Stillwell, which is that little mall on Stillwell that is owned by the Bouchards, and we gave them a $2,000 design and engineering grant. Yes. So,
That was for $2,000,
yes, it's only for 2,000, I think they spent more than that.
much by far.
They spent 9,920, but it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's our, we were only allocated 2,000. We need a one, yeah.
It's like paid Shard project, the 2,000 for the design and engineering.
I would second that.
Okay, so those are the second, is there any more discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so that takes care of the reimbursements. Then. P and J, let me see.
Minutes of the, someone that.
No, oh, P and J?
No, you do not, you did. You know. I'm not sure how to find all these others.
Because those are all things we're gonna vote with tonight, that we already, if we yeah.
Okay, minutes from the PJ meeting.
They're not in there.
No, they were, I read them.
I got
No.
I
Yeah,
got rid
right,
of P and J
there's,
notes kind of late, but I can go over P and J.
No, this was prior to when I was on it. Here, it was right here.
oh, that was from the, that's from the,
November 8th meeting.
but that's in the bioswales.
That's right, I know, okay, but what I wanted to say was, I ran a meeting one time when somebody wasn't here, the chair was, and I ran the meeting. And Sarah, you said that committees don't usually make motions. And this has all kinds of motions in it, so this committee does make motions. So,
Is that that's the P and J?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Victor, did you, manage to write a report?
Yes, I did. I submitted that like Sunday night or something. So sorry it was super late. But basically we had two people come through. We had Terry Phillips come through, and he's asking for over $100,000 for a sprinkler system for his second floor of his space. Um, I don't really totally understand the situation. I don't know how he got a building permit or got as far as he did without having that as part of the plan already, because he's kind of claiming that this is like retroactively happening to him. But, regardless of that, I informed him that we really don't have the money for that right now, and that we've got a bit of a queue forming, bit of a line forming, and that we value him and we'd like to work with him, but we just don't really have the capital right now. And then the same goes for the next person, Madeline's. She wants to do some interior remodeling. She's got a pretty reasonable budget. I really like the idea of doing loans pretty much no matter what, but I also really like Tom's solution for some previous clients, which was a half loan, half grant, just to kind of keep the money moving and keep things stimulated. But especially because we're going to be pursuing money, showing that we've got money coming in, I think is preferable. That being said, I also advised her that we don't really have the money for that right now, and that now she would probably be third in line because Terry and the Bouchards being first.
Okay.
along those lines, and we talked about it a little bit after the meeting was over, but I know in the past, when we were on the PNJ committee, when we don't have funds, we don't have meetings. There's no reason that these people can come and make a presentation when we're just gonna tell them you don't have any money. I think in the past, what we did, we just put a moratorium on, requests and, or applications, and, the applications were just kept in a file and they're dated, so in order of the application, when we have money, then we invite them to come to a meeting. And I would suggest that we go back to doing that, because I find it kind of embarrassing. That would be the business. It's okay.
Good, because it was your suggestion, so.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, so we'll discuss it a little bit further, I'm
Okay.
keep thinking about that. Okay, so, yeah, so as far as committee reports, it would be really nice if there was a committee report that was done and, um. And that it would be, something that, Sarah would have 10 days in advance of this meeting. So, it doesn't have to be super long, but, at least list, the things that you talked about. Anything that you seem that you think is relevant to their request, and then what the committee recommends, so.
Oh yeah, I
That's-
I apologize. I've streamlined it a little bit more, so I think it'll be easier. And ideally, I'm even kind of pretty much doing them in the space. So I'll make it faster.
That's fine, everybody's busy. Alright, so the next thing on this list here, for P&J was the Go Shark proposal. And you have a copy of that. The revised proposal for 108 Stillwell for application. And has everybody had a chance to read this? So, and they are first in line. Or always a people. So I couldn't find the short-term loan information from the 1902 First Street building. That they had the short-term loan and then we paid it. I'm sure that that's what happened. They would tell us that it didn't. I just couldn't find it. So, but
Well, there's two things. First of all, do we wanna do it? And then there's this. How he wants to do the short-term loan, I mean. So I think that has to be the question first, as we haven't. At our PNJ meeting, we didn't talk about if we did wanna do this. At all. And like you were saying, are we going to do grant and loan, or how it would be structured?
this would be totally a loan. They would have to give us the money back. So what we have going here is, we have our sidewalk project. It's probably gonna be very expensive. And we haven't started it yet. None of the construction was started and it's not going to for a while. The, where's.
So we know it's gonna be a total volume.
It would be totally alone and they would get it back to us and that would have to be one of those things where. We have, at the rate that now we have $519,000, okay? Sidewalk is gonna cost a lot more than that. We're gonna get $250,000 more. Is gonna be put into that account, so we'll have like $750,000. So it's kind of a juggling thing here. If we gave them the loan. And they repaid it by, it's 350,000, so that would leave us with 400,000 for our sidewalks, which is not enough money to pay for them. So the sidewalks would have to be put off until they pay us back, or at least if they get close to it, so that we can start and then pay our bills in that direction.
Which is until June 2026.
Yeah, well,
Well, it's good business practice.
I don't know, it's kind of a juggling act, and I mean, I don't doubt that they will pay us back.
No, I don't believe her.
At the same time, if something happens and they don't, then we're stuck with not having enough money to pay for the rest of our bills. So Victor, how would you like to chime in on this, and you talk to them more about this than any of us?
Yep. So the Ruth is right. These engineering costs and the trickling of contractor costs are coming in and they're very expensive. And while we don't want to abandon this mission, we may have to just kind of examine our timeline. And if that's going to be the case, if we're going to maybe slow this timeline down and still get through engineering, then it might make a lot of sense to do a relatively short-term loan that's going to get a return back for TURA, which then would be, and ideally a situation where we come back in with even more capital after the loan. After talking to the Bouchards and doing a little bit of research on Todd to get a little better understanding of his background, he's a very adept commercial, real estate, as I understand, kind of broker agent, but also investor. And I have serious faith and confidence that his strategy will work. And what his strategy is to borrow the capital from us, accrue the interest. But then once the building is complete, he has the professional network to get money released to him or refinanced to him from a traditional banking, institution, a traditional financial institution like a bank. So I'm confident that in a realistic expectation of that due date, that he can deliver the capital back. And that means maybe we're doing the sidewalks next summer, with like an August start date or something like that. And that gives us time to get through engineering, get through the bad weather, and, maybe even make a couple loans along the way. That's my thought.
Victor, I'd love to jump in with you on that. First of all, thank you. I appreciate that. And then another thing I'd just like to add. So you guys probably know we do have a current loan on the 116 ADU for 100,000. And the balloon payment for that is due, I believe, in August, at the end of August of next year. And if we were to get this $350,000 bridge loan for 108, that would also help us pay back that 116 loan earlier. Within 90 days is the deadline I'd be able to commit to. And that would also help give you guys some funds for that sidewalk project as well, prior to summer.
Yeah. I'm inclined. I like it.
I have Tom here and I've got a question, and see if I'm interpreting this properly. So the proposal is, the request is for $350,000, and of that 350,000, is 100,000 of it going to be used to pay off a loan to TURA?
No, I can see how you would get that, Tom, but no, this is just going to help us focus or not have to use all our funds to push this 108 project along so that we can keep progress. How this short-term loan will really help us is to keep progress going. As you know, our original budget was 550,000. So far, we're $150,000 in, and we'd love to keep moving fast and to get this done as quickly as possible to have the space available to serve its tenants. So having your help will give us the ability to have some other funds freed to give back to TURA and have you guys have the capital to invest in other private projects, potentially other people that are in the queue.
So effectively, we'd get a return on the 350,000 and a return on the remaining ADU loan.
Exactly.
So thank you for clarifying.
So basically, in order to do this, we just simply have to change our sidewalk timeline. And it doesn't seem like it's moving along really fast anyway. Do we have any more proposals other than Frank's?
We have a partial proposal from one of the other one of the other contractors, but they haven't submitted like a very clear proposal. They've just given a quote, and while that quote is significantly less than Frank's, I would still like to see more information. I'd still like to see all the um, elements of the RFP be met. So I've kind of nudged them to check in on them. Um, yeah, that's where we're at with that.
So I missed the last meeting, but wasn't the sidewalk project originally 400,000? Did I miss something?
That's where it started out.
Yeah, okay.
It was kind of the low estimate
Right.
in our section.
And we're at 500,000 just for the first and second street sidewalks.
Well, actually, Frank's proposal that he sent in that you guys don't have a copy of, because it just got here, is 700,000.
It's almost 800,000.
Man.
I have no idea what it says.
So just a quick recap for everybody. So thanks for stimulating that thought. What we did this summer is we hired Kyle Ayers' organization to do some pre-engineering work and develop a proposed construction cost. And so originally we had talked about $400,000. We paid Kyle's team $4,000 to do this work. He came back with a number that was closer to 580,000 for the course of construction. When we had initially done some talking with Frank, he gave me some linear square foot information that I built a calculator, and then I also came up with roughly $580,000. Since that time, Frank has submitted his bid, and it's like 792. and the other contractor that submitted a bid is like 395. So there's like almost, a $400,000 difference going on between two contractors. And that's such a huge difference that it makes me want to dig further into both bids to see what's, really going on here. On top of that, Kyle Ayers has just gotten back to me with his proposal for engineering services. And over the summer, he said that engineering services to get a full permittable set of plans would be between $20,000 to $30,000. Well, his most recent proposal to me is like $68,000. And he's saying, you know, this service went up and that service went up and this service went up, since I was doing these, soft bids this summer. Now, I've written a massive request for proposal, and that I believe is on the agenda to talk about how we can push this out to other engineers, or I can be empowered to go reach out to other engineers. Um, but this project, if we go with Frank and we go with Kyle, is going to be almost $900,000. So that's why I'm
So
saying,
yeah, so this is a project, this is for you, Garrett. This is a project that will improve an area of Tillamook that is not going to improve by itself. Is there any way that the city would just
I,
have us pay the permits fees? I mean, it doesn't make any sense for us to pay.
with the budget the way it is, I'd be shocked if they could, they could do that. Already, they've laid off an employee, let an employee go in the last 6 months. I think they cut raises, they're not filling the last police department officer that left. So I would be shocked if they could do anything. Oh, yeah, I don't know if 2 streets of sidewalks, are we getting enough bang for our buck for $800,000? That seems like a lot of big bite. That's just my personal opinion. But I would be shocked if the city could do anything, financial wise.
well, and if we move forward with getting a full permittable set of plans, then perhaps we could approach the state for some grants. I remember we talked about a safe school grant. There might be some other
We're
opportunities out
not
there.
going to school on these roads, that's just it.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
I think these sidewalks aren't directly linked to the Liberty School.
Yeah, they might not be close enough to the school, but I'm not sure.
I think they are. I did some research and did some overlays, and I think they're in the Safe School initiative. And then on top of that, because we're like one of the poorest counties in the state, we're also at a higher rate for getting a loan or a grant like that. But it's been, 2 or 3 months since I looked at all that. But I think it's an option, or at least a fighting chance.
So I think what we have before, and that Hope is interested in, is that whether or not we're willing to grant the Bouchards a $350,000 loan, because it's not impossible for us to do that right now, we can. With it being, yeah, it's a short term.
6 months for sure.
Do it the middle of June. And simply move our timeline to make our sidewalk project maybe somewhat more reasonable.
Yep. Because then we could potentially be earning money along the way, and we'll have fat coffers when we go to start applying for this next round of capital.
I don't have a problem with the loan, they got a good history with us, obviously, that makes a big difference. The sidewalk project is obviously, it's getting bigger and bigger, and I don't think it's realistic to do any work during the bad weather anyway. So I don't have a problem with pushing that out. We got a lot more, light work to do, it seems like, to figure out where we're out there.
Did you wanna make a motion?
And if somebody else says something, depending on the loan, I mean, 6 months is a pretty quick turnaround.
That was their proposal, they would have a payback and, yeah.
So. Two things, the first thing is going to be a big distraction, and that would be, what if on the sidewalk project, we curtailed it to just one street only, not both streets, not first and second. I'm just throwing that bombshell out there just for you to get distracted. So that's a thought about the sidewalks down the road. And I think I'll hold my next thought after the motion's been made.
I move that we approve the revised proposal for a one-way steel vault to the $350,000 level to be paid in approximately 6 months,
How much for
$350,000.
So it's a loan.
it? Do we declare the interest rate or anything like that, or is, where is that?
Stand.
Whatever.
We have standard.
Plus 1%.
I second that.
And what do you want to do, like, with the due date on or before? due
Loan must be paid on or before June 15th, 2026, submitted by motion.
Okay. Yeah. Alright, so it's been moved and seconded, so now what's your next thing?
Okay, so, bear with me, Hope. Whenever we disperse money, do they usually have to come in with, what they wanna do? Not bids, but invoices and checks and things like that.
Yeah.
What can I understand about that as we, prior to our voting?
Okay,
What are the
so,
steps that Hope will have to make?
okay, so it's a loan and, I would say that they're gonna have to say, this is what we wanna spend it on. And we're gonna say, okay, we'll take this, 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 and this, so we need some more, it needs to be fleshed out, and so basically it's like. We're willing to do this, but you need to finish an application, essentially, a full application for this,
Okay,
just like you would anything else.
okay, that answers my question.
Do you understand that, Hope?
Yeah,
But-
so I guess
They
I
already
kind
did
of
an
framed this
application.
proposal as an addendum to our original 108 application where we outlined our full budget for you guys. And at that time, you did express that you wanted to help, but you couldn't commit exactly. And I understand that. I guess my question would be, as you know, Todd has a lot of experience working with contractors and doing commercial real estate in Tillamook. And we do have a timeline set with the contractors that we're working with. So I guess my question would be, is it necessary for us to get an exact bid? Or do you just need us to say, this is what we're going to spend that 350,000 on, and you can approve it? Would be my question.
We already have, we won't pay for anything you've already started, even if it's a
Right.
loan.
Mhm.
So I think what you need to do is to, get us a list of what you expect this $350,000 to be spent on. So, and, I mean, that's gonna come out of your original proposal. And I can't think of, since it's December, which makes it really difficult, I think of when we would be able, unless everybody's willing to, even if just met by Zoom, meet next Wednesday, but is next Wednesday anything happening in the city hall? Because I know like every Wednesday or whatever is,
I don't think so, I think we're supposed to have, or when we're scheduled to have B and J on Wednesday.
next Wednesday, okay, so B and J could be simply canceled.
Right.
And then essentially it would just be another meeting, and we would have all these lists and everything. Cause everybody be okay with that. I think some of you are on B and J anyway, so, and you can
Yeah,
watch,
I should be able to make it.
but, okay. So that way, oh, yes, we can say.
I do have a question along with what Tom was saying. So we're not just gonna give the $350,000. They're going to have to provide,
Right,
just like
it, yeah.
And they've kind of already got
documentation and.
They did, yeah, they already provided an entire application packet.
Yeah.
And so,
But we just don't know you have that right here.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's not a good,
so,
so we need to have probably another copy to everybody of the original proposal.
okay,
And add this to it, and then,
and they'll have to tell us what they've already started.
well, they have to tell us things that they haven't started. I don't care what they started, what have you started at the 350,000? Right. And then, probably we should have some sort of a list of the loan amount, what the interest rate's gonna be, in fact, is when it's due, and, yeah, and I will get in touch with the attorney and tell them that we got something that they're gonna need to look at for loans. And that, they haven't gotten back to me yet. So I will do that. Yeah, so we would have all this information, hopefully, definitely before next Wednesday.
Right.
So the proposal is, for clarity's sake, in my own mind anyway, is, I think the motion is to go ahead and grant the $350,000 loan. That's the good news, hope. Then maybe a quick list of, things that you haven't done already. And I'm just gonna throw out, plumbing, $58,000, just start line
Right.
iteming with figures on the side, real quick numbers, so that we'll go, okay, we're satisfied that we're gonna be funding things that you haven't already done. And that we'll be hitting a number that, you'll be doing things that'll be, hit that $350,000 mark. So we just want another brief list,
Right.
another two, and I don't think that should be, we don't need bids, we don't need second bids and things like that, just
Got it.
a list of your choices.
I'm assuming at this point that you have received bids for a lot of this work already anyway. Because you already started.
We have, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so we can just supply us with things you have, and then we have with the original proposal. And so essentially, with this motion, it's contingent upon a second meeting and all of the stuff coming together. So you add that here?
Yeah, so we need to amend the, to, a list, a detailed list and, of where the money's gonna be spent. In a second meeting where I guess, could we just wait till the second meeting to pass that thing? Or should we
Yeah.
do it?
Or
Okay,
we could do that.
yeah. Okay,
So we just table the
yeah, we just table it till the next meeting.
Wednesday, 6.
next Wednesday at 6.
Alright.
Can you make that hope?
I can definitely do that. So
Okay.
just to confirm, all you guys need is from me is a list of the items that we haven't begun on that can work towards that 350,000, and then any bids to go with that we already have.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Okay. And then if you're here, you can fill in any questions that we might have. Right?
That sounds
And
great.
the sooner you get that to us, the better. So today's Wednesday, if you get it to us by the end of the week, that would be perfect.
Sounds good. So to confirm, next Wednesday, we're gonna have a P&J, and is that something, I can definitely be there in person for that. Is this something that we would be able to move forward then, or would we have to wait another month?
No, next month, no, so next Wednesday, we're gonna cancel the P and J meeting. We don't have any applications, right?
We did get one for the Coliseum Theater.
Okay, well, maybe you can just let them know that.
We've accepted their application and we'll deal with it when we have funds available.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll let them know.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So next Wednesday's meeting is gonna be a full board meeting.
Yes, it's a full
Yes.
board meeting, yeah.
Oh, it's just over the one thing.
Just a special session.
Any more talking, we're just gonna be beating a dead horse, so, I, at this point, would call for the question.
I think we just table it
We're gonna take.
Yeah.
We're gonna table,
for that meeting.
Yeah, so we won't.
what
put
it
it
is.
Okay,
That's okay. It's a good.
I got clarity then.
all right, so everybody is okay with what we just did,
Yes.
Sounds good.
Robert?
Victor, are you available next week?
Oh yeah, I already have P&J in the calendar, but if P&J's
Right.
canceled, I'll just be there for TURA.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Hope.
Thank you, guys. I
Alright.
appreciate it.
So, okay, so P and J is not, it's on your agenda, it's not meeting on December 17th, it's gonna be the full board. 6 o'clock. Yeah. 6 o'clock, at 6 p.m. And, yeah, so you just tell the policy of people that. That we have their application, and that they can go before P and J on the. We'll have to talk about that.
Put them off for January.
Yeah, but
Use that
we're not gonna talk about it in January at least.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And is that the 17th next Wednesday?
Yes.
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 All right, next thing on here is the sidewalk project update. Okay. We've
Yep.
already had the sidewalk project update, or do you have more to say about the sidewalk project?
I don't have much more to say about it right now. I still am very much pro the sidewalk update or project. I see how it can help spur investment and growth in that area and invest in that community that seems to be underserved. Um, but yeah, that's kind of it. Does anyone have any clarification questions for me right now?
The only other thing would be, can you get us, you said that the, engineering firm got back to you and said this is how much your engineering is gonna cost?
Yep. I may have forwarded to you. Sorry, cut you off.
Please forward it again, I don't remember seeing it, but that's okay. So the city's not going to, this is an aside. The city, if we don't do the sidewalk project, isn't gonna give you money into permits because we don't need them. So they're really not out anything. It doesn't take any effort on their part not to issue.
Yeah, I would check with Maggie, if she's the guru on that.
I think I'm there too, but
Right.
you know, so it's like. It's, you know, the idea is to kind of help build.
I'm sure they give us permits, I can't imagine that'd be a problem. But, with, winter and stuff, I don't think we'll get a jump start on that anyway, but.
All right, does anybody have anything else you wanna say about the sidewalks? Sidewalks, at least expensive.
One of the things that I remember looking at the information that we needed to know from the city if they were planning on.
Tearing up that.
Yes, tearing
I
up.
have about that point to them yet.
That's information we're gonna need to know. Because that's gonna put us on hold until even later if they are.
There's sidewalks are located. No, I won't need to know the next Wednesday, but anyway, I will bid that, so. All right, yeah. The ad hoc committee for securing financing, okay, so it's a little early yet for us to get financing. We don't all have the information, but I will make sure that in. After when you need it, January, February, pretty much piece of paper, so, we have a copy and. Well, we have an ad hoc committee, and Samantha, are the ad. And, none of the people who are on the board who dealt with getting financing are here anymore. Okay, so they're all gone. I was on the board, but I didn't deal with that, and so all I think, and so it's kind of like our own little ballgame here. David Ulrich, his information was in there, and, he was the person who works for a. He works for a nonprofit that helps nonprofits get loans, essentially. He was very expensive, but that's okay, that is $1 million, we'll put it over that. So it seems as though we still have some time left, like all now. Back out again. But, if as you read, you don't have to read some purposes, by the way. It's just background for you guys and I'll make sure that everybody gets a copy, but I don't need to have it now, so, and we can kind of decide how we're gonna go from here, are we gonna get in touch with David? We did have that workshop, I don't know how many of you were at the workshop with Elaine Howard? Okay, we all are, we're great, so you all have the stuff that she gave us. I don't think she helps people get loans though. But she tells you how much you can get, in reading this information, there's going to be some discrepancy, but it's around $5 million that we can still get. And it's just a matter of talking some institution into letting us have the $5 million, something. And then what are we gonna do with it? And how are we going to decide the priority for it, sort of thing. So. Even if we get all $5 million, it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for fixing the city's sewer problem. Period. So, but anyway, but at least we have the ad hoc committee, we're all set up. I think Victor's okay with that, he's gonna be your chair. Okay, right.
Yeah, there's something, what is this a sewer problem? Is that something we're fixing?
No, we're not fixing it,
Okay.
we don't have that kind of money.
Or,
No,
it's
it's,
gonna, it's, so if I don't have to think about that, that's fine.
okay, well, let me explain, so 12th Street pump station is at capacity and has been for quite a while, and when it rains like this, the whole system is capacity. Anyhow, so there's no construction on the east side of Telmar. Because
Right.
there's no sewer system, and so that holds up the county, which needs housing. So you have all these, and so it's just kind of a domino effect here that it's not Garrett's fault, although we can blame him, because he's the city council.
In a lot of years since they
Yeah.
done anything to try to keep it up.
Yes, him one, but it's been a situation that has been allowed to proceed for years. And, so anyhow, that's what that is.
I'm going through getting my sewer line repaired right now too.
You have a sewer line number?
No, the city, but. Yeah,
Okay,
so homeowners are fixing as they sell, as a requirement of selling. That's so. It's not cheap, so, but it's slowly, it's a very slow process. I mean, of getting all these houses, and I've noticed that. I mean, probably 95% of these houses, they get scope lead repairs. You know, they're all, you know, pretty much everything I've seen scope leads repaired, so. But, yeah, over several years ago, yeah.
yeah.
It's gonna take a long time, yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway,
What interesting tidbit that I think we were told that for our TDCC foundation meeting. Was that, so there's 20 colleges. Same situation as Tillamook and numbers and that type of thing, so these 20 are compare each other to each other. And what was said was that Tillamook, out of all these 20, was the highest cost of living. Why? Why? I do. Then that's what you have.
we get a realtor.
Why would they have the highest cost of being one of the poorest counties?
Yeah,
Well, one of the course towns that we have the highest cost of living of these 20 colleges that are in similar places. That's kind of scary. Yeah, I think it has something to do with the jobs that will support a family. And we don't have as many jobs as other communities. Does that make sense?
Jobs. So many high paying jobs, you mean just we have very low, yeah, tourism. You know, restaurant workers.
but is that for the whole, that's for the whole county, it's not just for the city of Hilltop? It's for the county. Okay, so in the county, because we have all this coastal property and that's worth lots and lots of money. I would assume that that has something to do with it, that other counties, like. Douglas County, what is county, which is, Malheur County, all those ones over there, the desert. That they don't have all those things, and so that's why their cost of living is less than others.
that's just my someone said it, you know, the word about, rent is so high until extremely high.
And let's talk about rent. Does anybody know if Lisa Greiner rented all 4 of her apartments?
I don't know, but I can find out.
Yeah, we,
Okay,
what do you,
sure.
cost everything else, just, ask her.
I find out.
Cause I think that part of her loan would probably be somewhat favorable, was it?
Mhm.
Which, yeah, and it probably was based on the one she rented, so I was just wondering if she had rented that too. And if she rented 2 of them. That was my thought. Okay, so new business, the new application discussion, so you. Cheryl already brought up the fact that we don't really have funds to approve right now, because we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do with what we've got. Do you wanna just have people put in an application, they're dated, and we keep them in the file until we, right? Or do you wanna just continue to have B&J meet and come up with recommendations? The person then would know, well, say when we have money, this is what it's gonna be, and this is where you want the money.
Well, we really don't say that because we don't know whether we're going to do loan, grant, half and half, and it depends on the project, such as the painting on the building over here, the secondhand store.
Right.
And we didn't give her what she asked, if I remember right.
Or gave her, gave her a loan.
So we really can't say, yes, we approve your loan and when we get money, we really can't say that, because.
No, what we can, no, but what P and J does is they're supposed to make a recommendation. So that would be it, you know, so. The board doesn't have to accept, but. But because of these things, we would list them and.
I was just wondering about past practice that we
Yeah,
just.
and we could do that too, we could just stop the application. But it was whatever you guys wanna do, what do you think would be good?
But I'm not on the P and J committee, so whatever, I mean, whatever they want to do, I'm fine with.
I'd be willing to continue meeting, having P and J meetings and, hearing the people out and then showing their projects until money's available as in the order that they came. That's my 2 cents worth, so I'm not married to that.
Every application that has come in, I have told them that we have no money to get. So, and everybody has still said, I'd like the opportunity to present my application. So,
That's probably important, hearing that ahead of time, so their expectations are kind of set.
right,
And, yeah,
right,
and then it doesn't feel like they're wasting their time.
correct,
You know, so.
yeah. So. Alright.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll continue to have P and J meetings then.
yes, yeah.
Okay. We'll just do it that way, we won't vote on it, we'll just say, I'm gonna continue to have them for a while. Except in December, not gonna have them right at the time, back in January, but we're trying to figure out something. Okay, project guidelines and applications, so in your packet, we have. Active plan, there's on all of these. These, we've gone through all of these are the applications for assistance and the FAQs and the guidelines, and there are actually 6 different documents here. And so after our meeting. And we had gone through all of these, then Sarah and I sat down and we went through all of them again. We've got them twice.
Yes,
We went in, Sarah and I went in twice, anyway, so. This is what we have, and we can go through each one of them individually, and start off with design or engineering assistance application, that looks like this. And we simply need a motion to accept it, because once we've done these, then we have completed essentially all the documents that would be in our handbook. The only one that you don't have, and that will be in the handbook, is the intergovernmental
Agreement.
agreement.
Okay.
And that will be in there too, but anyway, so we just need for each one of these, a motion, and then we can do all of them at once if you want to, I don't really care.
You guys want to do it 3 times for me, I can't imagine there, you need to go through each one individually, but
Well, I wasn't thinking about going through each one, I just figured, you know, we need to vote on it. Do you wanna vote on them as a packet, so you have the designer engineering assistance application,
Well, let's do it singly one at a
one
time.
at a time?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that would be good for clarity.
Okay. So do you wanna start off?
I'll do one, but not all. So, regarding the design and engineering assistance application, from what I saw, it's cleaned up and looking good. I make a motion that we approve this application as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second, is there any more discussion about the design and for engineering assistance application?
Call for a question.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. One thing that you'll notice about all these is that Sarah has made the footers and headers similar. For all same.
Looking for that, that's a big one.
Okay, application for TURA private project assistance.
I would really accept the new and revised application for the TURA private project assistance.
I second.
Okay, it's moved in second, is there any discussion?
I have a quick question, and
Yes.
that is, I believe, oh, no, we didn't go through these applications, actually. Disregard, no discussion, I agree. A question.
We did go through.
Did we, yeah,
Yeah, we've done it for you
Now,
at our last meeting.
I did that, I was just correcting you.
Okay.
So did, yeah, did any of these have to go to the attorney for a review?
No.
Okay,
Well, we were basically wordsmithing it and trying to
Okay.
get it to,
All right.
and then changing the format so that they were cleaner looking, and
Okay.
that's why I said that the footers and the headers are
Yeah.
now, they all kind of match.
Okay, ready for a question then.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, let's do that. Tillamook Renewal Agency Private Project Assistance Guidelines.
Sam, you know what?
I'll show you what they're. Make a motion that we accept the private project assistance guidelines.
second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, is there any discussion about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passed, and then the next one is the public project application.
I move to be approved the public project application.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, is there any discussion about this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
When you say opposed and you're saying aye, you're opposing.
No, he's
No, he's delayed.
just delayed.
Okay. Okay, Victor. Okay, the public project assistance guideline. Your turn, Victor.
Sorry, what's the question?
Make a
Public
motion to
project
approve.
assistance guideline, we're looking for a motion to accept.
Oh, yay. I motion to accept this particular section that we're working on.
Skip this part.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, so moved in seconded, is there any discussion? Not hearing any, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the last thing is the FAQ, so frequently asked questions about whether you know. There really wasn't much on here that would change. But anyway,
I move that we pass the tour of frequently asked questions packet.
I second.
it's been moved and seconded that we pass the FAQs, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I had a discussion
Okay,
item on this real quick about, and maybe I'd save it for, in the, board comments, maybe I'll save it for that, okay, so to move this on. I'm gonna save no discussion for me on this and ready for call for.
okay, well, we already voted, did we vote?
I think so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote, okay. All right, so we'll talk about that. Okay, that's done. Now you can put the notebooks together, and everybody be update, okay. So project updates, I think we've updated all the projects. Consent agenda,
And it's missing one on here because I didn't have information from Hope, so the check for them is not listed, but it was $2,000, so.
At that.
okay, so this, I see. So we have to add $2,000 to the consent agenda, and this is for Bouchard.
Correct.
Okay, so that makes it $113,314.26.
Yep.
So we have a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as. Yeah.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda, all in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'm looking for that sheet.
Nailed it.
Okay, so we accepted the consent agenda and the board comments, okay, Tom, you're.
Okay, yeah, so I had a person in my neighborhood ask me about tax increment financing. I explained it to him as best I could, you know, how urban renewal receives their funding. And I think I explained the tax increment funding to him, vehicle to him enough for him to understand it. I was kind of proud of myself that I had enough clarity to be able to do that. And so then he pulled out his property tax data, and it showed a line item for urban renewal. So his question to me was, so the properties that are assessed a fee that goes into the urban renewal fund, is it just the areas that are outlined in green only? I mean, they receive the benefit, but they pay into it. But then what about the other areas around town?
No, they do not pay into it and they do not receive, well, that's not true. They don't pay into it. But theoretically, the whole city benefits.
Benefits, correct.
So. Yeah, so, like College and Buck, okay, they're a big business in town, they hire people, like, increase the number of employees they had. So, and all those people spend money, so the benefits of, maybe from that area, we get tax money, but everybody is the benefits. Yes, that's the concept too, is that. But directly, so like putting sidewalks in the northwest corner. Those people will benefit, but theoretically, I don't know how much sidewalks are gonna increase their property value, but they may. But it also increases the walkability, you have people that drive so much, lots of different things. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so on that map, the green map,
Yeah,
okay, go to item 2, how does urban renewal receive their funding? And go to mid-paragraph. And it starts out by saying the amount of taxes on the increased value or increment is what is collected. Here's the key word, it's collected across the city.
for the urban renewal district to use for redevelopment project,
Yeah, so that one key word is across the city.
taxes, increased value.
Are you in the TURA? Is it on your property?
It's on my property tax. When you brought it to my attention, I looked at my property taxes.
And I'm not in it, and it's on my property tax, that's too, so I do think we pay.
Yeah, we do have it. And so there's that key word, it's collected across the city, not just.
But it's collected, it is collected across the city, but it's collected for the districts that it's in, so if there, excuse me, if there was a taxing district that urban renewal didn't touch, then that taxing district would not be giving any money to urban renewal. But like school district 9, is the whole district, and we get money from them, the fire department, we get money from them. I don't know, I think the water district's separate, but we get money from that, so all these little districts you're getting, and it is across the city, yeah, but it's only, yeah, it is,
Okay,
so so that's true.
okay,
And that's a discussion I think that as we do the financing, we need to think about, but it's like. We need to think about how long. Do you want her to be able to go, because it could go for 20, 30 more years. If you got a loan. They say you only had 2 million now, well, it still means you can still go out another 3 million. So this isn't necessarily the last time we would go out for money, we could go out for, you could go out for the, well, this is what I got from Elaine Howard. You could go out for the amount of money that you were allotted. And so every time you go out, of course, then you extend your loan to
okay, that,
that you have to pay back. So eventually, the theory would be that you're meeting, maybe not even once a month, but you're meeting to make sure the loan is getting paid back, but you have no projects that you're dealing with.
We should maybe keep having these meetings.
Yes. Just pile up those applications.
Yeah.
Fine. All right, and there are any more board comments? Other than I want to go home. Okay, I don't think we had any correspondence and information. And so our next meeting is not January 14th, it will be. Next meeting is gonna be December the 17th. Remember, we're gonna all be here again.
And
That's
then
at
me, I assume, one,
the 6th. You can come by feeling there. Easier to discuss them than have to go to the. You do all right, you do all right. You want? Okay. All right, so if nobody has anything else that they would talk about, we're adjourned.
hey. You. You.
Strong one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Remember, for the contract committee, is there a chair? You,
Don't
John,
get
and I,
around here. Yeah, sure enough.
because Ruth asked, and I was like, I don't remember a meeting, so I did chair, I don't think I would have, liked it.